Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Gopinath Radhe Jayo Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Maya Subhadra Jayo Gauranitai Jayo Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhashta Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome all of you all for a Harinam Chintamani class. So today we are discussing a very important chapter, chapter 12, which is entitled Inattention while chanting. So because we all know that inattentive chanting is the mother of all offenses. So all the other aparad stem from inattention. So this is a very, very important chapter and a very practical and a relevant chapter for all of us. Naam aparad pramad. So this inattention in Sanskrit is called pramad. So pramad in one sense also means madness, right? So we are all distracted by so many things in this world. We are not able to focus on chanting. Pramadaha, to be inattentive while chanting the holy name. So this is what the chapter is about. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhur Jaya Bhaktagan Jandera Prasad Kari Nama Sankirtan. Glory, glory to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Glory to his devotees. It is by Lord Chaitanya's mercy that I chant the holy names. So this is Haridas Thakur's conviction, and this should be the conviction of all of us, that we don't have the strength to chant Hare Krishna alone. Ekaki amara nahi paya bala harinama sankirtane. So alone we don't have the strength to chant. Shraddha bindu diya. Only when we achieve the mercy of the Lord and the mercy of his devotees we can chant. So Haridas Thakur, who is the greatest chanter, this is his mood. My dear Lord Chaitanya, only by your mercy I am able to chant. So this chapter begins like every other chapter with glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees. Pramad namaka aparad, the offense of inattention. Haridas bale Prabhu heta sanatane आरत गोपाल भट्ट दक्षिण ब्रह्मणे शिकाइल अप्रमादे श्री कृष्ण भजन प्रमाद के अपराध करिले गणन. Haridas Thakur said, O Lord, you taught to Sanatan Goswami, and while traveling in the south to Gopala Bhatta Goswami, that one should not be inattentive in worshipping Lord Krishna. Inattention is counted as an offense. So Haridas Thakur is quoting authorities. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the beginning of Harinam Chintamani, he is wanting Haridas Thakur to explain the glories of the holy name, the various offenses. So Haridas Thakur, as a proper Acharya and a Parampara, he is telling Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I am quoting from your teachings only. When you taught to Sanatan Goswami, this is called Sanatan Siksha. So when Sanatan Goswami meets Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi, for 2 months, Lord Chaitanya instructs Sanatan Goswami. And one of the teachings that he taught Sanatan Goswami was one should not be inattentive while worshipping Lord Krishna. Sikaila apramade Shri Krishna bhajana. So when we are doing worship to Krishna, we should be present. We should not be inattentive. Right? So this is considered to be an offense. So he taught this to Sanatan Goswami also. And in South India, when he comes to Sri Rangam, he teaches this to Gopal Bhatta Goswami also. So there is a footnote here. Lord Chaitanya said to Sanatan Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela 22.134, Ek anga sade keha sade bahu anga, Nishna hoile upajaya premera taranga. So Lord Chaitanya's instruction to Sanatan Goswami, he tells, whether you follow one limb of devotional service, when one is firmly fixed in devotional service, he may execute one or many of the devotional process. So there are Navvida Bhakti. So you may either do one or all the 9, but what is most important is doing with attention, being fixed in devotion. If you do this, Upajaya Premera Taranga, the waves of bhakti, love of Godhead will awaken. First, one should abandon pramad or inattention. Then faith in the practice of devotional service will take birth within him. So this is very important. When will faith come? So here Lord Chaitanya is saying here, Eka anga sade kahe keha sade bahu anga nishta haile. Nishta means firm faith. So when will firm faith come? When we pay attention to the process of bhakti. So first one should give up inattention, be present, be focused. And when we do this, faith will develop. Just like when you are reading scriptures, if you just read for the sake of reading, firm faith will not come. But if you do it with attention, then faith will come. So he continues ahead. Anya aparad tijaya tiyajiya sada naam laya tabu name prema nahi hayata udaya. Even if someone avoids all the other offenses, the 9 offenses, and regularly chants the holy name, still the pure love of God may not awaken. So even if you give up all the 9 offenses, right? And you're continuously chanting the holy name. Still, Haridas Thakur is saying, Prem Udaya, the love of God it may not awaken. Why? Tabe jani pramad namete aparad, prema bhakti sadhanete kariteche bhad. That means you are doing the 10th offense of inattention, pramad. And this becomes like a block to the attainment of Krishna Prem. Inattention is called pramad. Anvadad neke pramad bale. So inattention in Sanskrit is called pramad or anvadan. These are two words. Pramad, anvadan ei moola artha. Ya haite ghate prabhu sakala anartha. The root meaning of pramad is inattention. O Lord, from inattention, all the anarthas come. Ya haite ghate prabhu sakala anartha. So that means the root cause, the mother of all offenses, of all anarthas is inattention. The holy name of Krishna is very powerful. Krishna Katha is very powerful. Service to Krishna is very powerful, provided we do it with full focus, with full attention. Then only the process will work. If you don't do it, you may chant for a long time, but the result will come in a delayed fashion. So there are three kinds of inattention. So till now he has explained how inattention is an offense. In fact, inattention is the mother of all offenses. So there are three kinds of inattention. Teen prakara anvadhan. औदासीन्य जाड्य आर विक्षेप इतीन prakara anvadhan bhujibe praveen. So those who are intelligent, praveen means those who are wise and experienced, they say that there are three kinds of inattention, anvadhan ya pramad. The first is called audasinya. Audasinya means indifference. I mean, indifference means you don't have faith. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it, right? You're completely indifferent. You're chanting the holy name, but mind is somewhere else altogether. It's called indifference. The next is called jadya. Jadya means inertia, laziness. And third is called vikshepa. So these are three kinds of inattention. First is called audasinya. That means indifference, right? You're not bothered what's happening. Just like if an important personality comes to your house and you're not even looking at him, that means you're indifferent to him, right? So this is called indifference. You're not careful, basically. The second is called jadya. Jadya means inertia or laziness. And the third is vikshepa or distraction. So these are three kinds of inattention. And what it is, he will explain ahead. So there's a footnote here. Indifference to devotional service means lack of faith. So indifference means lack of faith. That means you're doing it, but you're not bothered. You're not doing it carefully. You're doing it in one hand, you're chanting, one hand mobile. You don't even feel that something is wrong. Everything seems okay for you, right? So this is called indifference. And this indifference comes because there is lack of faith. Faith is missing. Inertia, jadya, means laziness, right? Inertia means laziness. Distraction means the mind is dwelling on other things. Vikshepa means other than Krishna, the mind is everywhere. Anurag na hao paryant naam grahane yatanera avashyakta. So this is very important. As long as one has not yet attained anurag, attraction, one must chant the holy name very carefully. So if you have to avoid inattention, what we have to do? Yatana. Yatanera. Yatanera means with great carefulness, with great mindfulness. One should very carefully chant. One should very attentively, one should put effort in that direction, right? So as long as this natural spontaneous love for the holy name doesn't come, one needs to put effort, careful, focused effort. कोनो भाग्ये कोनो जीवेर श्रद्धा यदि हय तबे तीन हरिनाम ग्रहण करय. By good fortune, a jiva develops enough faith to take up the holy name. So somehow, by good fortune, we have taken up to the process of chanting. Correct? Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beej. With little Shraddha, Adav Shraddha, we have taken up to the process of chanting. Yatana Kari Smare Naam Sankyara Sahita Tabe Naam Anuraga Haya Ta Udita. So now, by some great fortune, we have taken up to the process of chanting. Now, if you want to perfect the process of chanting, what you have to do? Yatana kari. We have to put effort. We have to chant carefully. And then Sankyara Sahita. One should chant prescribed number of rounds. So this is also very important. Many times devotees feel, Arey, what is the need of chanting prescribed number of rounds? 16 rounds or whatever your fixed number of rounds is. So this is the process Haridas Thakur is giving here. Who is Haridas Thakur? He is the greatest authority of the holy name. So he's telling here, first is one should be very careful while chanting. Second is one should chant prescribed number of rounds, Sankyara Sahita. And then when you do it, attraction for the holy name will gradually rise within him. Tabe nama anuraga haya udita. So there's a footnote here. One should chant a fixed number of holy names on his tulsi beads. Gradually the number may be increased. So this is how we follow in ISKCON. You start with a fixed number. Initially devotees start with 2, 4, 8, and then you come to 16. And after that also, Haridas Thakur tells you one should aspire for 32, 64, 192. So in this way, gradually one should increase the number of rounds. But doing the fixed quota is very, very important. Ye paryanta anurag न हय उदय से पर्यंत यत्न करी नाम सब सदा लय. So this is very important. As long as attraction has not yet risen, as long as that spontaneous attraction for the holy name has not yet come, we should chant always sada and yatana with great attention and carefulness. One should carefully chant the holy name always. So these two words are very important. Always keep trying and then do it with attention. Yatna bhave sadhakera chitta sthira hayana. The aspiring devotee should carefully make his mind steady. So we are all sadhaka. So our consciousness is everywhere right now. But gradually we should make it steady. Sthira. Nisargataha lokasabha vishaye asakta. Smriti kale vishaye antare anurakta. Everyone is naturally attracted to material sense objects. Nisargataha. So naturally the attraction to material objects is there. When one remembers them, one becomes attracted to the sense objects. Right? So here sense objects means the objects not related to Krishna. So naturally this attraction is there. Even though it's not natural to the soul, but because we have been in this material world for a very long time, the conditioning is there, it becomes very, very natural. Ruchi yaya anyastane nama udasina. Name chitta magna nahe jape pratidina. If one is attracted to other things and is indifferent to the holy name, even if a person chants japa every day, his heart will not be absorbed in the holy name. So this is the offense of indifference. Audasinya ya udasina. Udasina means you are indifferent. So when one's heart is attracted to sense objects, even if a person chants every day, the absorption in the holy name doesn't come. He's indifferent to the holy name. That means you're chanting, you don't realize also, you're not very conscious that you're chanting Krishna's name. It's just some mechanical vibrations that is going on. Why? Because your mind is everywhere, right? Your heart is attracted to the things of this world. Chitta ekadike ara anya dike naam tahara mangala kishe haya gunadham. So chitta, the consciousness thoughts are in one direction. The holy name is in another direction. So how can such a person attain auspiciousness, that is the abode of all that is good? So this is our condition. This is the offense of indifference. Our thoughts and our mind is in one place and chanting is going on mechanically. So how will result come? Laksha nama haila purna sankhya mala gani hridaye nahi nahila rasa bindu gunamani. So in this way, even if one chants 1 lakh names, 1 lakh name means 64 rounds on the beads, not a drop of taste for the precious jewel of the holy name will be produced in their hearts. So if this is the condition, that your heart is completely in one direction and the holy name is just going on mechanically or chanting, so Haridas Thakur is saying here, even if you chant 64 rounds every day, you may not develop that taste. So what one should do? Eita anvadan doshera prakar vishayi hridaye prabhu bhada dunirvar. Oh Lord, in this kind of inattention, it is very difficult to stop the heart from being attracted to material sense objects. So we are chanting the holy name. We are supposed to be chanting Krishna's name and being attracted to Krishna, but our attraction doesn't come because our heart is still there. So ultimately, what do we think about? The thoughts in the mind is always connected to the attachment we have in our hearts. So if we are still attached to the things of this world, we will get material thoughts only. So Haridas Thakur is saying it is very difficult to stop these thoughts. This kind of inattention is, this kind of indifference is very difficult to overcome. So is there a way out? What should we do? Yatna karibara vidhi. The process of coming out of this vicious cycle of inattention and indifference is the process of carefully chanting. Yatna karibara vidhi. Careful chanting. Sadhu sange swalpakala chadiya vishaya nirjane laila nama e dosha shaya. By associating with devotees, one quickly becomes free from material desires. Once the thought of material desires is destroyed, one may chant the holy name in a secluded place. So, the way you overcome indifference, and we have been seeing in this, we are in the 12th chapter now, most of the offenses, the remedy has always been in connection with devotees. So, here also, if you have this disease of indifference, this kind of inattention, one should associate with devotees. Sadhu sange swalpakala chadiya vishaya. If you do this, one quickly becomes free from material desires, and then you can sit alone and chant in a secluded place. So, but Haridas Thakur in this chapter he mentions both things. So we need some time where we are in the association of devotees and chanting, and some time where we can sit alone and chant. So therefore, if you go to Gokul, Mahavan, there is a cave in which Sanatan Goswami would sit and chant. It's actually below the ground. He would sit and chant. In Vrindavan, in the temple of Shyam Sundar, there is the cave of Shyamanand Pandit. He would go inside the cave and chant. Right? Gaur Kishodas Babaji would lock himself in a small room and chant. Bhaktivinoda Thakur would do that. Right? So both these things are there. You have to take some time to associate with devotees and chant, and then some particular time of your day or some particular period you can sit alone in seclusion and chant. Krame krame Krishna Nama Chitta Hayastira Nirantara Nama Rase Hayata Adira. Gradually, the mind becomes fixed on the holy name. Then one is always intoxicated by tasting the nectar of the holy name. So this will happen gradually. But for that, we have to put effort. So it's not that everything happens by Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy is there, but the Krishna's mercy comes by our effort. That's why in the Damodar Lila, you have this two finger. One is Krishna's mercy. Ultimately, the taste in the holy name will come by Krishna's mercy. But Krishna's mercy will come when Krishna sees our effort. Right? So that effort is in our hand. Taste is not in our hand, but sincere effort is in our hand. So when we try to carefully chant, then gradually, the mind becomes fixed. Krishna Nama Chitta Hayastira. So now our mind is unsteady because of so many desires. But when the mind becomes fixed in the holy name, the consciousness will be steady. Just like a lake, when you keep throwing stones in the lake is agitated. But if you don't do anything, the lake remains steady. So similarly, we keep agitating our chitta, our consciousness with so many desires. But if you don't agitate it and remain fixed in Krishna's holy name, it will become steady and peaceful like that calm lake. Just like you have the example of Tukaram Maharaj, Haridas Thakur himself. They were so focused, they were experiencing great bliss in the chanting of the holy name. Why? Because they had reached this stage. So there's a footnote here. At first, one may act in this way for half an hour, beginning a chanting of the holy name in a secluded place in the association of devotees. So this is something interesting. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the first half an hour one can chant in a secluded place, but in the association of devotees. So how can secluded place be in the association of devotees? So one understanding of seclusion is that you don't associate with materialistic people, but you associate with devotees. So when you come and associate on devotees, seeing the devotee saintly nature, one gradually acts as they do. In this way, he abandons his indifference and desires to engage in devotional service. So when we come in association of devotees, we are inspired by their examples, how they are chanting with so much focus, that inspiration comes. So we can derive inspiration, we can derive power from the association of devotees. Tulasira Sannikate Krishna Leela Sthane Sadhu Sannidhane Vasi Satvata Vidane Krame Kala Vriddhi Kari Sei Nam Smare Ati Shigra Vishayera Chandana Haite Tare. Staying near Tulsi Devi. So these are very important principles if we want to overcome indifference. Right? First is associate with devotees. Second is stay near Tulsi Devi. Chanting near Tulsi is something that is very, very powerful because she is the topmost devotee. Uh, Krishna Leela Sthane, staying in the holy place of Krishna's pastimes. So visiting holy dhams is very, very powerful. So chanting that happens in Mayapur, Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, or any of the holy places, very, very greatly powerful. So visiting holy places, if not visiting a temple of Krishna, chanting in a temple of Krishna, right, going to a ISKCON center, so that is also considered a holy place. Associating with saintly devotees and following the example of great saints. Sadhu Sannidhane Basi Satvata Vidhane. Following the footsteps of great saints. That means one can read the life of great devotees, get inspired from them. One gradually spends more and more time thinking of the holy name. Very soon, one abandons thinking of material sense enjoyment. Krame Kala Vriddhi Kare Sei Nama Smare. So when you keep doing these things, associating with devotees, staying near Tulsi Devi, visiting holy places, associating with reading the life of great saints, gradually one thinks about the holy name more and more. How I can chant more, how I can improve more, and all the material sense objects the thoughts will disappear. There's a footnote here. Following the example of great saints means the example of past saints wrapped in the bliss of devotional service. Bhajanananda. So those saints who are wrapped in devotional service, in the bliss. Like Tukaram Maharaj, he was so absorbed in the bliss of devotional service. Haridas Thakur, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, all these personalities. So when we remember them, when we read about them, when we hear about them, we also get inspiration. In the beginning, one chants the holy name for half an hour. So one may start like this, 2 rounds, 4 rounds, and gradually increase. Gradually, the chanting is increased to an hour. Right? That's how we increase. Right? Initially, we start with 4 rounds, then make it 8 rounds. Then gradually it is increased to 2 hours, 16 rounds. Then gradually it is increased to 1 lakh names, 64 rounds. And then it is increased to 3 lakh holy names, 192 rounds. So this is the way it is recommended here. So this is one way of overcoming indifference. What is that? Associate with devotees, stay near Tulsi, chant, visit holy places, read the life of great devotees. There is another way, Anya Prakariya. E Rupa Karile Udasinya Rupa Anvadan Hayana. There is another way. In this way also, there is no inattention caused by indifference. What is the second way? Atava Nirjane Bashi Smari Sadhu Riti Indriya Pidana Kari Name Kare Mati. The second way is living in a secluded place, remembering the holy name, acting in a saintly way, controlling the senses, one may fix his mind on the holy name. Right? So what the secluded place means, there's a footnote here. Controlling the senses means living as an ascetic in a secluded cottage, or it may even mean covering the eyes, ears, nose with a cloth. So there's also a way that many Gaudiya Vaishnavas do, cover the eyes and ears, they put this ear plugs or cotton, it helps you focus, right? So you can try that. So that's why I give you the example of many of our acharyas who would go into a cave and chant. So this is also a way. Satvare namete nishta ruchi krame haya odasinya doshe tara krame haya shaya. Quickly one attains first faith and then gradually attraction to the holy name. Gradually the fault of indifference is destroyed. So as we explained here, indifference means lack of faith. Faith is less. So when we chant, carefully in the association of devotees, in a holy place, trying to carefully focus, control the senses, then what happens is first one attains faith because of careful practice. And then with faith, one attains attraction. And when attraction to the holy name comes, there is no indifference. Right? So this is about the first type of inattention, which is called indifference, audasinya. So just to recap, we saw inattention, pramad, is one of the biggest offense, the root of all offense. Pramad or anvadhan has three kinds: indifference, odasinya, ya udasina. Second is jadya, inertia, and the third is vikshepa. So till now we saw odasinya. Odasinya means indifference, right? And you can overcome indifference by following this process. Either go in a seclusion for some time and chant, or in the association of devotees with Tulsi Devi, try to chant carefully. The second type of inattention is called comes by inertia. Inertia means laziness. Jadya janita anvadan lakshana. The nature of inattention created by inertia. So this is another problem, laziness. Jadya ye anvadan alasera mane tahe ruchi nahya haya shri nama grahane. When the mind becomes lazy, one becomes inattentive because of inertia. Because of that, one will not be attracted while chanting the holy name. So this is a big problem, laziness. We are not lazy for material things, but we are lazy for spiritual things. The mind becomes lazy. You tell people to chant, you feel lazy, you don't want to take it up, you keep postponing. Procrastination. Procrastination is also part of laziness only. You keep postponing tomorrow, 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 right? So the mind becomes, when once the mind is lazy, so this is not physical laziness, huh? He's speaking about mental laziness. Alasere mane. So physical laziness is a different thing, but actual problem is mental laziness, right? Someone may be physically active for material things, but mentally lazy for spiritual things. So when the mind becomes lazy, then one becomes inattentive, right? So actually chanting, even though it appears like it appears that you are not doing any action, you're just sitting in one place and chanting, you know, but actually it's a very active service, because your mind has to be focused. To focus, the mind has to be attentive, right? If it is lazy, how will the mind be focused? So because one is lazy, there is laziness in the mind, there is no attraction to the holy name. Smriti kale puna shigra virame prayas e dosha nama rasa nahaya prakash. At the time of remembering the holy name, one will try to finish quickly. Because of this fault, the nectar of the holy name will not be manifested. So when there is laziness, when you're lazy to chant carefully, then your mood is you just want the holy chanting to finish so that you can do some other important things. And if you have this kind of mood, you just want to finish chanting, then how will the nectar of the holy name be manifest? So this is a big fault. Ei doshe nama rasa nahaya prakash. So because of this fault, the nectar of the holy name is not experienced. Anya karyate vrita kala nahaya yapana sadhu gana ihan chinti smarane anukshana. Nama smare rasa maje anya nahi chai se rupa sadhu sange e doshayai. So how do you overcome this laziness, mental laziness? He is explaining here. One who does not waste time in useless activities, who associates with saintly devotees, and moment after moment remembers the holy name, will find himself plunged into nectar as he remembers the holy name. He will not desire anything else. In this way, in the association of devotees, this fault will go away. So even for overcoming this fault of laziness, jadya, one has to go in the association of devotees. And which kind of devotees? Anya kare vyartha kala nahaya yapana. Devotees who do not waste time in useless activities. They don't do prajalpa, they don't waste time. Devotees who are very focused. And moment to moment, they remember the holy name, they are plunged into the nectar of the holy name. And they don't desire anything else. Nama smare rasam aje anya nahi chai. So if you happen to come in the association of such devotees who are highly focused, they don't waste time, they're completely focused on chanting the holy name, in their association, this fault will go away. As soon as you come in the association of such devotees, laziness will disappear. So there's a footnote here. Yeah. A saintly devotee does not waste time. This one should follow. So this is a lakshana or a characteristic of a sincere devotee. He doesn't waste time. Avyartha kalatvam. He doesn't waste time. This one should try to follow. Don't waste time. Try to use every time very carefully, very nicely. Anveshiya sei rupa sadhu sanga kare tad anukrane chitta jadya parihare. If one seeks out saintly devotees and follows them, then he will defeat the fault of inertia in the heart. So one should first seek out saintly devotees. And there's a footnote here: a pure devotee, Vishuddha Sadhu Bhakta, is very rare and difficult to find. Searching in place after place, one will eventually be able to associate with such a pure devotee. So you have to search out for very sincere, pure devotees who do not waste any time. Vishuddha Sadhu Bhakta. And if you find such a devotee, if you just follow their footsteps, at least try to follow, this fault of laziness will disappear. अव्यर्थ कालत्व धर्म साधुर चरित देखिले तहाते रुचि हईबे निश्चित. Saintly devotees naturally do not like to waste time in useless things. Avyartha kalatva dharma sadhura charita. So what is the characteristic of a devotee? What is the charitra of a devotee? Avyartha kalatva dharma. They do not waste time in useless things. Observing their actions, dekile tahate ruchi haibe nishtita. So we have to carefully study and observe the life of great devotees. When we observe their life, then those who observe will gradually develop those qualities, and they will also be focused, and they will become attracted to the holy name. Mane habe taha kare ihar samman, smaribe gaibe naam haye bhagyavan. In this way, his heart will become like the ours. He will become like the saintly devotees. Mane habe taha kare ihar samman. If you continuously think about such great devotees and if you offer respects to them, then your heart will also become like them. You will also become saintly. So the process of becoming saintly is to remember saintly devotees. So when we do that, we will also chant the holy name and we will become fortunate. So the way to become fortunate and overcome inertia is this: associate and read the life of devotees who are very focused. Seita uthas asi alasera mane jadya dura kare Krishna namera smarane. Throwing inertia and laziness of the heart far away, he will become eager to remember Krishna's holy name. Seit uthas asi alasere mane. Uthas means greatly enthusiastic, eager. So when someone actually becomes fortunate and associates with such devotees who are highly focused and do not waste time, then such a person will throw laziness and inertia far away from his heart, and he will also become eager to chant Krishna's holy name. मने हबे आज लक्षण नाम ये करीब क्रमे क्रमे तीन लक्षण नाम ये परिब. So in his heart, then such a devotee should decide with determination: I will chant 64 rounds, 1 lakh names, and then gradually I will chant 192 rounds. Like this. So his determination will increase. Maha arga Mahagraha habe chitte namere sankyaya achire yaibe jadya sadhura kripaya. In his heart, he becomes determined to chant. He chants a fixed number of holy names. By the saintly devotee's mercy, his inertia soon goes away. So when you read the life of great devotees, or when you see devotees around you who are like highly focused and they're focused on their chanting, you get inspiration. And then you take vows. Right? I will increase my round. You become very determined. And when you follow like this, so that means association of devotees should bring about some transformation. Some vow should come within you. I also want to develop this. So that's why the beauty of ISKCON, today is the incorporation day of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada made this society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Why did Prabhupada make this society? Because Prabhupada knew that as practicing devotees, it will be difficult for us to practice bhakti alone. So when you have a society of devotees, you'll find so many kinds of devotees. You may not like to read, but you might find some devotees who continuously read. So when you look at them, you get inspiration. Let me also try to read at least half an hour every day, 1 hour every day. When you find devotees who are chanting with great absorption, getting up in the morning, you gain inspiration. Let me also try something. Right? So in this way, the association of devotees, if we remain in this association, if we remain very observant and we note down, so the process of Krishna consciousness is where we are learning something from every devotee. It's not that only in classes we learn. When we look at any devotee, we can definitely pick up something from them. So when you keep learning like this and keep implementing, so as soon as you see something or you learn something, what is important is implementing. When you do it, then inertia will go away, and by the mercy of these devotees, you'll be more focused. So this is about the second kind of inattention called jadya. Yeah. uh, uh, laziness, inertia. Now, the third kind of inattention comes from distraction, which is called vikshepa. Vikshepa janita anvadana lakshan. The nature of inattention caused by distraction. So, what is the nature of this uh, kind of inattention caused by distraction? Vikshepa. Vikshepa yete pramad udaya bahuyatne sei aparada hayashaya. Inattention also comes from distraction. This is the third kind of inattention, distraction. With great struggle, this offense is destroyed. So this kind of distraction is not overcome easily. You have to struggle a lot. Therefore, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But before that is chant Hare Krishna, struggle and be happy. There is a lot of struggle. Kanaka Kamini ar Jaya Parajay Prati Asha Pratishta Asha Satya Vritti Tahara Nilai. So where does this offense of distraction reside in? What is the home of distraction? Desire for gold, Kanaka, wealth. Kamini, desire for women. Jai, Vijay, victory. I have to be victorious, and then others have to be defeated. You want to see failure of others. And then Pratishta Asha, the desire for fame, name, recognition. And Satya Vritti, the desire to cheat others. You want to cheat others. This is where all distraction resides. So that means if you have attraction to wealth, women, fame, name, envy towards others, you want to cheat others, destroy others, take revenge, then how will you chant Hare Krishna? When you do this, all these other thoughts only will come. These are the home where inattention resides. So these are the home of inattention. This is where it resides. So Haridas Thakur has clearly pinpointed out what are the causes of distraction. Ei saba akrishti hriday haile udaya nameta anvadan subhavata haya. When the attraction for all these arises in the heart, one naturally becomes inattentive to the holy name. Naturally. So when attraction means when you're drawn towards all these things, drawn towards money, women, and fame, name, and all these things, then you're drawn away from the holy name. Because if you're drawn here, you'll be drawn away from something. So how to be free from distraction? Vikshepa tyagera upay krame krame sei saba chinta parihare yaibe saubhagyavan vaishnava acharya. One must make a constant effort. So again, there is constant effort. Try to drive such attractions away from the mind by diligently following the ways of Vaishnav culture. Gradually, one should try to remove these distracting thoughts. This will bring his good fortune. So first, effort is there. If you say, "Arey, so many thoughts are coming, let me just not chant only," right? This may give up the process of bhakti, it will not work. You have to put effort. You have to constantly keep trying and trying different ways. How can we overcome these thoughts? How can we give up our attachments? Following the Vaishnav culture, reading the life of devotees, right? So taking guidance from devotees, doing all this. So somehow or the other, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshyat. Somehow or the other. So Krishna will give all of us intelligence. Tesham satadyuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So when we are sincere, we may have a problem, we may have one of these faults. But if we sincerely keep trying, what should I do? Let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, let me try 2, 3 of these things. When you keep trying diligently again and again, constant effort, then gradually good fortune will come. Strive means to make an effort. So we need to put effort. Yatane, one should put effort in this direction. And he's also giving us something that's very more, that is practical. Prama prat, pratamete hari dine bhoga chinta tyaji sadhu sange ratra dina harinama bhaji. So one very practical way to overcome distraction is on the day sacred to Lord Krishna, renouncing even the thought of food, one must worship the holy name in the association of saintly devotees day and night. So the day sacred to Lord Krishna means Ekadashi, Janmashtami, other days like this. Especially on these holy days, Madhava Titi, yeah, here it says uh, Hari Dine, the day is connected to Krishna. Give up thought of eating. That means reduce all your bodily needs, practice some kind of renunciation. And in the association of devotees, day and night chant. So if you can increase your chanting in the association of devotees, especially on these sacred days, then you'll be able to overcome distraction. So this is like a very powerful way to encash on these holy days. Just like you go to an holy place, the effect is there. Similarly, these holy days have an effect. So when you follow these holy days very nicely, then special mercy comes. Hari Kshetre Haridas Hari Shastra Laye Utsave Majibe Suke Parama Nirbhaye. So Hari Kshetre, one should stay in a place sacred to Lord Krishna. Haridas associates with Lord Krishna's servants and reads Lord Krishna's scriptures. One should participate in the festivals and holy days without anxiety and hesitation. So he's given some very important points to overcome distraction. First is holy dhams, visiting holy places. Very powerful. Hari Kshetre. Second is Haridas, the servants of Krishna, the devotees of Krishna, very powerful. And third is Hari Shastre, reading scriptures very diligently. And the fourth we saw Hari Dine, following the days connected to Krishna. So these are uh, four important things that is mentioning here. Hari Kshetre, Hari Das, Hari Shastre, Hari Dine. So when we have respect for all these four, when we keep visiting holy places, when we keep associating with devotees of Krishna, when we keep reading scriptures related to Krishna, Gita, Bhagavatam, other scriptures, and when we follow the holy days, then one can give up distraction. So here it says one should participate in the festivals and holy days without anxiety and hesitation. So holiday should actually be a holy day. That means holiday should be on a holy day. So when it's a holy day, take a break. So this was actually a Vedic culture before. On holy days like Ekadashi, people would not run their business. On Janmashtami, people would close down and focus more on their spiritual life. But in these days, people want to keep the shop open always. They want to keep working always. No breaks at all. So if you keep working without breaks, you will go through a breakdown. So our break means taking a break for Krishna consciousness. So on holy days, try to take a break and focus more on service to Krishna. So it says, so follow these festivals, participate in these festivals with great enthusiasm. So these holy days now, like Janmashtami, Ekadashi are very powerful. They are very special. So on these days, we can be more focused. Try to chant more, try to do more Krishna Katha, try to do more service, more deity worship. Then distraction can go away very fast. Krame Bhakti Kala Mane Kariba Vardhan Hari Katha Mahotsave Majiyaya Man. Gradually, the mind becomes more and more wrapped in devotional service. When there is talk about Lord Krishna, the mind dives into a festival of bliss. So gradually, when you follow all this, Hari Kshetre, Hari Das, Hari Shastre, Hari Dine, then the mind becomes more and more absorbed. Krame Bhakti Kala Mane Karibe Vardhan. There is development of the mind. And then when there is Hari Katha, you will find it a great festival. Hari Katha Mahotsave Majaya Man. The one will find great bliss in the Katha of Krishna. Shreshta Rasa Krame Chitte Haibe Udaya Jadera Nikrishta Rasa Chadaibe Nishtaya. So when you experience that higher taste, Param Drishtva Nivartate, Vishya Vinivartante, Niraharasya Dehinam, Raso Varjam Rasopyasya, Param Drishtva Nivartate. When that higher taste, Shreshta Rasa, when you experience that higher taste, then what happens? Nikrishta Rasa. The lower taste, immediately you renounce. Mahajana Mukhi Hari Sangita Shravane, Mugdha Habe Mana Karna Rasa Aswadane. Hearing the topics of Lord Krishna from great saintly devotees. Mahajana Mukhe Hara Sangita Shravane. When you hear the glories of Krishna Katha, the Kirtan, the pastimes of Krishna from great devotees, Mugdha Habe Mana. One will become intoxicated. The mind will become stunned and captured. And because one is experiencing that sweetness that comes through the ears and reaches the heart. Nikrishta Vishaya Spraha Haibe Vigata Nama Gane Chitta Stira Haibe Avarita. When hankering for material sense pleasures and pleasures that are inferior goes away, the heart becomes fixed in chanting the holy name. So when that Nikrishta Rasa goes away, then this Shreshta Rasa, we experience that higher taste. So there's a footnote here. Sacred places of Lord Krishna are places like Navdeep, Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, and other such holy places. So for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, these three are most important. Mayapur, Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri. So we should try to visit this place as often as possible, and even the other places connected to Krishna. Lord Krishna's servants are pure Vaishnavas who follow Srila Rupa Goswami. So for us, sacred places means Vrindavan, Mayapur, Navdeep, Jagannath Puri, and places connected to Krishna's pastimes. And then pure Vaishnavas means those who are followers of Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga. And Lord Krishna's scriptures are Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all books that follow true Vaishnav philosophy. So all the books that follow the actual Vaishnav philosophy, one should try to associate, right? So we'll continue ahead. Atayeva bahu yatne ei pramad tyaje stira chitte nama rase chira dina maje. With a great struggle in this way, one becomes free from inattention. With a steady mind, one is always plunged in the nectar of the holy name. So there is great struggle here. Struggle will be there to overcome inattention. So this is a deep conditioning. It will not go away very fast. One has to struggle. But that struggle should be there. If that struggle is not there, if you just give in, you're feeling sleepy, if you feel, let me just sleep. I'm getting distracted, let me just get distracted. Then nothing can be done. We have to struggle. So the point here is one has to struggle. Ateva bahu yatane ei pramada tyaje. Bahu yatane means with great struggle. Again and again, there'll be repeated failures. You have to get up. Only after that, the taste is given. That struggle has to be there. So there is one or two more pages. Should we continue and complete it, or should we do it the next time? I'm okay either way. What should we do? Any suggestion? All of you all are there, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, I unmuted also. They can unmute and they can talk.
So should we continue? Should we stop here? Do you all have any questions, any comments? What should we do? Yeah. So all of you all can unmute and speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
We can discontinue now, Prabhuji. Otherwise, now again, so many
concepts. So many concepts.
Yeah. And you have to hurry. It's 8:15.
No problem.
Yeah.